Hello, Chicago, and welcome back to Speak Your Mind Radio. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Queen Star, aka Miss Hip Hop. And today, joining us is a brilliant guest. She is an ambidextrous neurosurgeon artist, and she's here to discuss how using both her hands enhanced her entire career. So, you guys, without further ado, bringing up next to the mic from Honolulu, Hawaii, is the talented and artistic Dr. Kathryn Ko. Hey, Kathryn.
Both waving with both hands.
Spirit fingers.
Yeah, you could start. You want to become ambidextrous? Start right there.
Okay.
And and one of the things, since I am a brain surgeon, I'm actually born and raised in Honolulu, biracial, and did medical school in Hawaii, and then went from Honolulu to New York City
Yeah.
without stopping in between. Cultural shock, and then did my training in neurosurgery at Mount Sinai in New York City, and I actually live in New York City. And so
Oh,
my home base, my actually home base, adopted home base is New York City. I've been there for many, many years,
and
and
that's where
that's
you're.
where
Mhm.
that's where I practice, and that's where my practice neurosurgery, and that's where I actually my art studio is. But one of the things I wanted to bring up was that your handle, speak your mind, right? So
Mhm.
you could have actually said speak your brain.
Yeah. I love it. I
Could have
love
made
it.
that switch real.
That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love your background. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a project that I did, kind of emulating Warhol. Yeah, Andy Warhol, who's a pop art was a pop artist, and I did probably over 100 of these, and they're all different. And that one in the back there, the black one, has music.
Really?
It's a sheet, yeah, it's a brain over sheet music.
I
It's in
see
the
it
back.
now.
Yeah,
The
my thumb's
background.
kind of toward it. Yeah. So I did literally hundreds of these as a project, and they're all different, and they're all colorful. Some have glitter. They're all different. Yeah, quite a collection, and it makes a really good background.
It's absolutely fantastic. Like seriously.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For real.
Thanks. Yeah.
You're welcome.
So music and the brain for me is like really super important. So you'll see music coming up a lot in my art, and it has a lot to do with brain development. And I realized the importance of of music in the development of the brain.
Yeah, does that create a sense of hope for people that live with dementia?
Well, I think music is very important to the developing brain.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the market for music is so hot during the teen years till about 30, 35, because I think there's something about music that helps the brain develop or soothes the developing brain. It does something to the brain. The brain is developing during the teenage years and into your 20s. And so I think, the market is so predominated by young people that I think it's really important for music in the brain. One of the things I advocate for is that people tend to, like 50s, 60s, 40s, they tend to listen to the music they had when they were growing up.
Yeah.
And their musical catalog collapses around that era. And so I'm advocating for listening to music continually,
Mm.
different types of music, not just the music that was important to you in high school and in your 20s, but music that is 10 years above you and 10 years below you, or even 20 years below you. Actually, I'm starting to listen to the music from the 40s.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a station on Sirius
Yeah,
called
Sirius XM.
very interesting. Sirius is very interesting because it goes by decades.
Mm-hmm.
And so rather than listening to the music that's familiar for you and brings back memories and things like that, it's really important to go outside your comfort zone and listen to contemporary music, rap, hip hop, and go all the way back to the 40s, classical, everything. I think music is really important to your brain. And I'm so impressed with what you're doing by talking
Thank
about it.
you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Carol was right. You are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, oh, Carol's a very good artist in her own right too.
Yes,
And
she is. Yes,
yeah,
she is.
I'm all about the brain, in any capacity, whatsoever, whether it's art, whether it's science, I'm all about the brain, whether it's operating on the brain. That's my whole, passion in life. Yeah.
So, what got you to that point where you grew up and said, I want to be a neurosurgeon one day? Did you actually do that at 10 or however old you were?
No, I couldn't even spell it in high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what the heck that was.
Right,
Coming from
right.
Hawaii, no, I went to medical school. I thought I was going into women's health. I was going to be an OBGYN. And
Whoa.
yeah, that's it. That's what I was going to be doing. And then when I got to because nobody encouraged women back then, right?
Yes.
It was, you sort of just want, I got into medical school. I was very proud of it. The University of Hawaii has a history of taking women.
Really?
They're one of the they were one of the early schools that took women.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, yeah. And so Hawaii is very progressive in that domain. Well, the president, Obama, was born and
Yeah.
raised in Hawaii. And
Yeah.
so, so anyway, I thought, well, I'm going into women's health. I'm going to help women. And then I sort of wandered into the what they call the neuroanatomy class, where you're actually learning, you're dealing with the human brain, dissecting it, and that was it.
I
I
got
fell, I fell in love.
Yeah, I could definitely tell through your conversation that
Yeah, that was it. That was it. I just said, no, this thing is so complex. I just have to devote my life to trying to understand it.
yeah.
And then I found out that the best way to bring the brain to the public who doesn't have my background, because I operate on the human brain. I've seen the human brain in real life on the operating table. There is nothing more beautiful on earth than the live human brain, period. It is the most beautiful thing. In fact, when we're doing brain surgery and I expose the brain during the operation, the room goes silent for a few seconds. The power, the majesty, the incredible complexity of this organ silences the whole room. And then people go back in a few seconds, but there's so much power in it. And I realized that I get a really lucky, special view that nobody else has. I mean, it's almost like, the guys that walked on the moon. There's very few people who have seen the real living human brain. And so I said, let me just try to see if I can express this to the public who don't have a chance, so that they can understand, one of the prime powerful things of why the human species has done so well. So that's why I try to express that through my art. It
Yes.
channels, but from the operating room through the art studio, it channels through my art.
Wow. Yeah, what I got from you is basically whatever talent you started off as a child, it transcends on until you're an adult, until you make it into your own. So
Yeah.
for you, the human brain in my head is very powerful. Now I can imagine being in the operating room and then it exposes itself, and then that moment of silence, I can hear it and feel it and see it because it is powerful. Um,
It's very moving to see it. And it happens every time, no matter how many times I've seen it. It just, it moves you beyond yourself.
yeah, it definitely does. So the drawings behind you, did you do that with both your hands?
Yeah. Yeah. And they're real simple. I mean, these are simple. It's a project. It's very simple. But some of the other drawings are really detailed. I actually went to school and have a master's of fine art with, in representational painting. So I'm actually a trained artist.
Wow, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
So I have a question. What is the difference between a neurologist and a neurosurgeon?
Well, okay, so it's like a neurologist doesn't do surgery, and a neurosurgeon operates, and so
Mhm.
there's a big difference, and the training is much longer for a neurosurgeon. The training after medical school was 8 years.
What?
Yeah, 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, and 8 years of training.
So 16 years.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
16
insane.
years to be a brain surgeon. Yeah,
Were you
that's
freaked out when you first saw your
huh?
first brain? Were you freaked out when you saw your first brain?
No, no, not at all. I was in love.
Wow.
It was love at first sight.
Uh,
If you could ever be in love with something more powerful than yourself, that was it.
that's true. That is
And
very
it
true.
never passed. It's like some people are in love with music.
Hmm.
Some people are in love with some passionate about some other thing um, that is not personal. That was it for me. Yeah. And
That's
it's held my whole life. That's so I picked the right thing. I somehow stumbled into the right thing.
yes, you did. Yes, you
Yeah.
did. And I can actually see being ambidextrous and being a neurosurgeon can kind of go hand in hand because you have to have that delicacy in your hands and you have to be able to focus with your eyes and you got to be precise. And how did you teach yourself how to write with both hands? Because I tried that as a kid and I gave up.
What are you right-handed?
yes.
Yeah, so I'm a natural right-hander, but I don't sit still very well. I'm really hyper kinetic,
Mm, cool.
moving around a lot, and you're high energy, and so to put me in a lecture hall is not a good idea because I'll either annoy the person sitting by me or I'll like
Fall
that.
asleep.
So yeah, so I said to stay awake, I'm going to switch to my left hand. To stay alert, I'm going to switch to my left hand, and that's what I did. And so it took me during the lectures. It took me like it took me a decade actually
Yeah.
to become ambidextrous. I think if I ever did anything really immensely positive for myself, that was it. That has made the single biggest difference in my ability to operate well, write well, paint, draw, everything. If you can do something with both hands, you're really efficient.
Yeah.
You're- yeah, and it helps your brain too. I don't think I would have been an artist if I hadn't become ambidextrous. But it's a really tough process. Really tough. It's very hard. It's like learning a language.
Oh.
Yeah, it's that hard.
I would think you would learn a language easier than to be ambidextrous because you know, you got to work both sides of your brain, you know?
Right. Well, left-handed people are by default a little bit ambidextrous
Mm.
because the world is right-handed. You know, you think about turning the knob on, when you open a door, everything is geared toward people who are right-handed. Scissors is right-handed. So the left-handed people have to sort of use both sides. I think their brains might be a little bit different, and that's why there's so many extraordinary left-handed people because they use more. I think having switched from right to left, a natural left-hander probably uses more of their right hand also than somebody else because you probably don't use much of your left hand at all, right?
Right, right. Unless I'm
Yeah,
putting
so
them
think
together.
yeah, so think about going through life without using one hand. It doesn't make sense, right?
No, it doesn't. Well, riddle
It's
me
just hanging
this.
there like this, right?
Yeah, it's like
You got to
disabled.
get that thing in. You got to employ that thing so that
Girl, you using all of your brain power. I'm serious. And that's a good question, actually. That was my icebreaker question. And I was going to say, we use 10, they say that is it true or not if you use 10% of your brain or not? What do you think?
I don't think people use their full potential. I think it takes a lot of determination and will to exercise everything you have up here. It's hard because laziness, time is really a problem, and just switching to the left hand is hard. It's hard physical work and
Yeah.
mental work. You have
Hmm.
to have such discipline to do that. But so here's your homework.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead and brush your teeth with your left hand
Woo.
today, okay?
Okay, it's going to be hard. I can
Be
try it.
careful. Be careful. I don't want to have you calling me and say, I had to go to the dentist. I knocked my tooth out.
I can picture that happening. Don't.
You can post that. I'll be laughing.
So I'm gonna blame you for
Yeah, post a thing with a black, oh, I lost my tooth. Damn
it. Okay, so I do have a few more questions about like your art. Now,
it.
tell the audience the story of the painting that you drew of Obama.
Well, so Obama is, born and raised in Hawaii, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he's biracial like I am. And so
Yes.
I felt and the generation is pretty close. I'm a few years older than him, but the generation is pretty close. We didn't go to the same high schools, but I went to public high school. He went to private, but I always admired him immensely. And so what happened was, I wanted to do a painting of him, and I came across, I was in Honolulu at the time, and I was at Costco,
Hmm.
and there's a brand in Hawaii called Hawaiian Sun, SUN. It's really popular, the drinks, but it's only in Hawaii, and so you wouldn't know it unless you were born and raised in the Pacific. Hawaiian Sun. And so I found a cardboard Hawaiian Sun package in the dumpster in Costco.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, this frames it really well. And so I actually painted him on the Hawaiian Sun, because he's actually, instead of Hawaiian Sun, SUN, he's Hawaiian Sun, SON. And I'm doing a whole series of Hawaiian Sun notaries. For
Ooh.
example, Obama's one. There's some Hawaiian activists with respect to the native culture that I'm very interested in. There's also a woman who was she was the first Asian American woman to serve in, I think it was either Congress or the Senate, Patsy Mink. And she's responsible for authoring Title IX. And Title IX is very important for allowing women equal access to higher education.
Oh.
So Patsy Mink is also a Hawaiian Sun. And
Okay.
so I'm doing a series of notable people from Hawaii that the world might not know of, because in essence, people from Hawaii are very humble.
Yeah.
It's not in our culture to boast about our some of our achievements,
Mhm.
and so that's anyway. He's the first one in that series of Hawaiian Sun.
Right,
Yeah,
Obama. It
yeah,
makes sense
yeah, yeah,
too.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
so
yeah.
cool. So when is that
Even though
series?
his adopted city is your city, but he's originally from
Yeah,
Hawaii.
that is true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That is so true. Such a
yeah.
commonality.
Hmm.
Um, I actually don't recall my last question. That sucks. Now I have to really look at my notes. But I want to ask you. You know a lot about the brain, so science says that we as adults need about 7 to 9 hours of sleep for ample health. What in opposed to not getting enough sleep? What are the effects on the brain from that?
Well, you have to listen to your body's clock,
Hmm.
and each person is different. Like I think if you listen carefully to what your body needs, you'll find out what you need. And I think the sleep requirement is very hard to change. I don't require much sleep. I think from 3 to 5 hours. Yeah, born like that. Just born like that. Yeah, lucky,
That is
lucky.
amazing.
And so yeah,
Yes.
just really lucky. But some people require 8 to 10, and you have to, in order for you to feel healthy, you have to really adhere to what your body requires, and that's kind of set from birth. I think it's really hard to go against it. But one of the things I wanted to bring up, that I think your audience, I might need help from your audience
Mm-hmm.
in, is incorporating some music into their music, some of the things from the hospital. I'm interested, like people ask me, they say, what do you listen to when you're in the operating room?
That's a good question.
And I tell them that the symphony for me in the operating room is listening to the heartbeat,
Hmm.
listening to the respiration, And also the tools. There's instruments, we use drills to
Mm.
get through bone. And those drills have a note. I have a painting called Craniotomy, which is opening the skull to get to the brain, craniotomy in G sharp. And the reason I call it G sharp is because that particular drill works really well when the sound coming out of it is G sharp. And so learning about music when you're young and keeping it in your brain helps in all parts of life, not just putting out tapes and CDs and becoming a musician, but it helps in life, period. And my musical ear helped me tune that drill so that that drill could open the skull in the best way possible. Yeah, so that's what I mean, I'd be, really interested in having an operating room symphony.
Hmm.
If any of your audience has any of that interest, they should hit me up because
Okay.
I have some musical, I mean, I have some um, tapes from the operating room, some MP3s that I'd like to incorporate into somebody's music.
Yeah, I think definitely they can help you out with that for sure, and I can too. Um, do you like symphony music? Do you think symphony music makes you smart, more intelligent?
No, when I say symphony, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor, meaning that the heart provides a certain rhythm and a certain note. It's not really symphony music per se, but the respiration and the heart, there's no notes, but the heart beats at a certain frequency and things like that. I like all music. Of course, I was raised during the 70s and 80s. I came up, that's the music that resonates with me. But I realized that it was too comfortable for me,
Mm, mm.
that I want to go outside my era and listen to music because I think it's really important for my brain to keep accepting new sounds, new tones, new lyrics. It's really, really important as I go through life to continue to grow that way.
Yes, I definitely agree with you. You you just taught me so much. That life has its own rhythm, and the universe
Yeah,
has
I
its
mean,
own rhythm.
listen to your heartbeat one day. I mean, that's the essence of your tune.
Yes,
That's you. That is you. Nobody else has that heartbeat except you.
right. So, what would be your advice to get in tuned, so to speak,
Start listening.
more?
Start listening to your body. Okay, start listening to the sounds around you, whether it's music or nature or birds. Yeah,
That's you.
that's how. Yeah, yeah,
Are you
yeah. Because
outside?
huh?
Are you outside? I hear
What was
birds.
that?
I was asking, are
No,
you
but
outside?
I think those are birds in our heads. We're
No
already hearing.
way. No freaking way. No. No. I hear birds chirping around you. Mother Nature is speaking.
I really admire birds because birds are always on key. You never
Wow.
hear a bird emanating a sound that's instead of that G, they're not on G sharp or they're not on F. They are hitting that G like nobody else can. Yeah.
That is so amazing. I love
Yeah,
talking to
yeah.
you.
Yeah, yeah, cool.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question pertaining to the vaccine. Like, what effects, if any, would adversaries would that have on the brain? Like, especially something like COVID-19 vaccine.
Too early to tell. Yeah.
Yeah,
Too early to tell. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is.
I just look at what the real authorities on vaccines and I keep alert though I'm reading about it.
Have you taken your vaccine yet?
Yes, I have. I've taken it already. Yeah. My turn came up. I took it.
You
Yeah.
only took one dosage or two?
Two already. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
which vaccine was it? And did you have any side effects? And
No
right
side
there.
effects whatsoever. No. I took the vaccine that was available at the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, well, that's very interesting. I just I need to know more about there was uh a seat. Oh God, let me think of this. There was a lady in politics that just passed. Her name was Karen Lewis, and we at Speak Your Mind Radio want to give condolences to her family. She passed away because she had brain cancer. How do people how do people become exposed to something so serious like brain cancer?
Well, there's a lot of theories on it. I became very close friends with somebody on Instagram who has brain cancer, is a brain cancer fighter. And her name is Steph Nash. And we did a couple of interviews with her. She's in Canada. And if they want to see somebody fighting, I think she's now 4 or 5 years with this. It's really, really a moving story. And brain cancer is one of the last, no, not last, probably one of the major health issues that um, they need a lot more research in. Yeah, it's a devastating illness to have, but she's amazing. She's totally inspirational. Stephanie Nash is her name. She's on Instagram. I'll send you a link.
I
Have a
think
look
I
through her file. She also was she does a lot of hip hop interviews. By the way, you may have seen her. She was starting her career in radio when it struck. Yeah, in Canada, the Canadian scene, Toronto.
wow.
Yeah, she's amazing. Really
Her-
amazing. Yeah,
I would like
yeah.
to meet Seth. That's her name, Seth,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I'll send you a link to her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please do so because that's
Mhm,
amazing right there. All
mhm,
these
mhm.
amazing people, interconnection, like seriously.
Yeah, that's what social media is all about. It's about just making a connection because, I mean, we would never have met had it not been social media. And so, no matter what they say, social media is the most powerful way of linking. It's like the circulatory system of the world. It just you make connections with people that are so incredible that you would never have met in your geographical vicinity.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that because I've met some interesting characters and you're one of them.
Yeah.
That's really cool, Doctor. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm just looking through my notes and I have another question for you because you answered most of them. I think you answered all of them. Okay. Yeah, let's just talk. Let's just talk because I want to know. I'm interested. I was intrigued with you when I first heard about you. This is the reason why we're having this interview, so to speak. So tell me more. Tell me more about your thought process because it's extraordinary.
Well, I'm trying to give a message about ambidexterity, about the ability of women to go into areas that are predominantly male, have a good career. I wouldn't say great, but I would say a good honest career.
Amen.
Come out mid-career, end of career without being with still emanating kindness
Yes.
and positivity, and to also look back and pull the other women forward. Um,
Amen.
yeah, and so, and I'm also in this thing where you should just because you're in one field doesn't mean you can you can't jump into another field. So being in neurosurgery, a brain surgeon, and going into art, I'm channeling my neurosurgery through art, and I'm channeling my art through neurosurgery. It's a reverberating back and forth. So people sometimes think if you that you're losing focus
Mm.
by broadening your horizon. Some people can be very singularly minded. I think that the more you do, if you're passionate about something else besides, um, you know, neurosurgery, besides teaching, you have another passion: music, cooking, art, athletics. You should do everything.
Okay.
Don't waste your chance on Earth not to do something that you're really passionate about. And don't listen to people who say, "Oh, you're losing your focus. You're going off into art. You should just do brain surgery." No, no. because your life will be higher for it.
Yes.
And so the message to the young people, because they have access to different things because of social media, which reaches across boundaries, reaches across specialties, reaches across professions, is to just do it. Do whatever you think you can, do whatever you think you dream you could have done. And don't limit yourself to one thing. So
Yeah.
that's really why I'm on social media. I don't think I would be on social media whether just for neurosurgery. There's nothing, I wouldn't do it just for neurosurgery. I'm not interested in likes and follows or getting patients that way. I'm doing it because I think that there's a message, and my life could serve as a small example of other possibilities, other way of looking at how you can conduct your life and your profession.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very great
Similar
advice.
to you,
Yeah.
similar to what you're doing too. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually needed that hear that because I do not want my audience to think that I'm only talking about music. Now, if I can relate everything that I do back to music because that is my passion, I most definitely will. And relating back to what you said, Doctor, about don't just stick to one thing, do it all, especially while you still have the time on earth.
Yeah.
And so there's some things that I need to do just talking to you that are still music related that I need to get on top of like ASAP, seriously. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I really all I can really say is thank you for that message because if it didn't touch anybody else out there, it definitely touched me. So I have some work to do.
Yeah. I think we all have work to do until the day we die. And
Amen.
so don't stop trying to make your life and those who are around you life better.
Okay.
Just don't stop until you can't breathe anymore.
I will definitely do that. Thank you.
Yeah. And then even after you don't breathe, maybe if you've made some contribution like the funny brains in the back, maybe those things will affect other people as you're if you're gone. And so it's important, the interviews you leave yourself, or art, writing, things like that, or serving as an example. I think it's important.
It is important.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you a question. I do you have any questions for me? This is unorthodox, but you know,
Well, so I think that, when Carol first told me that we were going to talk, I thought, oh, I'm not sure that the domains fit. But then I thought about it and I said, you know what? I need to go outside and she needs to go outside. We need to go outside our comfort zones and improve our dialogue with everybody, because I think your audience will benefit from thinking about the brain, thinking about music and the brain. And I certainly have benefited from looking at your videos, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to chat with you, because I always want to push myself outside things that I normally do. And this is the perfect thing. The perfect thing was talking to somebody like you whose interests are very contemporary.
thank you. And I felt the
Yeah.
same way about you too. Even though when I first heard about you, Carol, I was just like, yeah, she's cool. And then the time started getting closer to actually have you on the show, I froze up a little bit. I had cold feet. And I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I don't know what I can do. And I was like, calm down, just calm down and be yourself. And then here you come, being yourself and, just teaching me a thing or two. And I appreciate that. And it helped me step out my comfort zone too.
Okay. Oh, wait, I think we froze.
Yeah, you're frozen for sure.
Let me see. I'm going to try to.
Ah, there you go. I hear you. I
Okay.
see you.
You know what was fun? You know what was funny?
What?
You said I froze up, and you literally froze up on the screen.
Ah!
I think that, oh my God, that was hysterical. You go, I froze up, and then
That's gonna look cool on camera because it's natural.
That's funny.
It is. It
Yeah,
is.
but I admire your courage in coming on and interviewing somebody that's in totally out of left field, not even in anything you would have really had experience in. It's amazing, and I admire that you did it.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah,
took a leap of faith.
always do that. The rest of your life, just keep doing that. Keep doing that. That's the best. That's the way to go. Is get out, take that leap of faith. Even if you're gonna fall down, you may fly. Take that
Yeah,
leap of
that's
faith.
true. That's so
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
This is absolutely extraordinary. This is so cool, man. I thank you so, so much for coming on the show. You made my, I don't know, you just made my February, literally, you know? So, I
Thank
mean,
you.
everybody, yeah. Thank you again. I guess I'm gonna end it or whatever.
Okay, cool. And
Thank,
yeah,
mhm.
really nice talking to you. And I'm gonna keep following you.
Yes,
I expect big things, and
too.
keep doing what you're doing. That's it. I mean, you're passionate about it. Keep following that dream.
I will. I will.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right. And
Catherine.
look for my Hawaiian Sun series. Okay.
I sure will
There'll be
look
a
for
lot
it.
more Hawaiians there.
Okay.
Okay. All
Thank you.
right.
Peace out.
Thank you. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye. That was cute. Oh my gosh.